Matt, uh,
Armando.
thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Happy
Yeah,
to be here.
yeah, thank you. I know the viewers are gonna benefit with some of the things that you're gonna say, especially for those that are trying to get into the HVAC industry. But I know your journey has been not as interesting as actually pretty common, right? You started in the fast food industry, you went to a trade school, and then you're out in the field, right? But of
hmm
course, it's easier said than done, right?
Most definitely.
So, have you ever been? You've always been on the in the fast food industry your whole life, more or
Yeah,
less.
I grew up doing fast food just to have a job while I was going to school at the end of my high school career and in college. I took some college classes, tried to figure out what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
Thought I wanted to do something in the fast food industry as far as management wise goes. And then I knew I wanted to do a trade. Didn't know which trade I wanted to do. It was between mechanic, HVAC, and electrical. I had a couple of family members in the electrical side, and they told me about it and tried to push me that way. But I ended up on the HVAC industry, and I've been enjoying it ever since.
Nice, nice. And it's funny you say that because when people hear the word HVAC, they have no clue what that means.
I didn't know what it mean before I started. I just knew it was air conditioning.
That's
So
it. That's it. Yeah.
yeah,
Even to this day, you ask a lot of HVAC technicians, they don't know what the V stands for. It always cracks me up. But that's in another note. But so going back to that, so before you started trades, going to a trade school, because you came from a fast food industry, was it harder for you to apply some of the things you were learning in the trade, or was it actually easier because you started out of scratch per se?
I'd say school wise, it was like a fresh start. I didn't know
Okay.
anything, so I just had a clean slate.
Mhm.
I feel like my customer service from my fast food industry helped me when I got out into the field
Mhm.
when I had to deal with customers. I feel like that really
Yeah.
helped me out. But as far as the school side goes, it was more mechanical.
Okay.
So it was definitely a challenge in the beginning, but once everything clicked, it was fun.
And thank you for sharing that. And that's very true because one thing is to learn the technical, mechanical, electrical troubleshooting, and another thing is to understand customers and how to talk with them. You could be having a bad day, but you still have to make the customer happy and provide quality service. So that's a whole different ball game per se. Now, so you went to a trade school for about 8 months, and you learned, I think, the basics.
hmm
Was there anything that you wish you would have learned in the trade school that maybe you're asking yourself, you know what, I should have done this more in the trade school, or I should have taken this class too, or is there anything that you might have regret up until this point?
Um, no, I don't think so. I think school was great. I really enjoyed it, learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I think the school I went to really set me up for success and taught me the basics that I needed
Okay.
to start out in the field. Definitely being in the field and being in the classroom are two different things.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a rough start in the field, but it was still a lot of learning to be done once outside of school. But the transition was pretty easy,
Okay.
you just got to continue learning.
That's right. And I say that, Matthew, because I'm always a big believer in especially applying that to a trade school. You get what you put in. So if you put in 50%, you're going to get 50% out of the trade school. And what I mean by that is, especially you, and I'm not saying you did this, but as a Gen Z student, I'm a millennial and I grew up with technology too, but you grew up with technology a lot more growing up.
hmm
A lot of people today that are Gen Z, they love their phones, and there's pros and cons, right? So what you see a lot, people going to trade schools. If 50% is on your phone, 50% is on the trade, then you're not going to get a lot of benefit from the trade school. So, but that's at least what I've seen the
hmm
trend, right?
Yeah.
But on the other side, I'm sure you used your phone to help you out on calls, look stuff up, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
most
pros.
definitely. I
Yeah,
mean, Google's always a big help.
Dr. Google,
Uh,
that's right. Yep.
but I think part of it is learning your basics, knowing your basics, and then you know, you once you have your basics down, then you can move on to more complicating things. And
Yeah.
you know, when you get stuck, I always go back to my basics,
Yeah.
and then I finally find the solution. Whether it's, you know, I need a little refresher from Google or whatever the case may be, but the basics will take you as far as you need to go. I
Yeah,
believe.
I completely agree with you, Matt. You build a foundation, and after that, you can build from that.
Hmm.
But if you don't have a foundation, it's always going to be a rocky start, a rocky foundation. So you finished. You go from the fast food industry. You go to trade school, and maybe you can share your personal story with this because it's always hard for everyone when it comes to this matter. But you go to trade school. Be honest, okay? How easy was it to get a job in HVAC after you graduated?
That was the hardest part. I actually had like 3 or 4 months between my first HVAC job and graduating.
Mhm.
And when I first had started, I made a lot of mistakes just because I didn't do it every day like I
Sure.
was in school. But everybody wanted 2 years experience,
Mhm.
and it was rough. And I applied to a bunch of different places, and it was just all, you know, you don't have enough experience for us.
Yeah.
And it was rough, but once I got my foot in the door, it was smooth sailing from there. And now it's just continuing my education and
Yeah.
doing the work. So
Yeah.
it's been fun. Once you get in, the hard part is getting in.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear that a lot from the students. 2 years, 5 years, 10 years experience. I mean, the
It's
most you'll get
crazy.
at a trade school is maybe 8 months.
Yeah.
Let's say it's a 1 year trade school, then you'll get 1 year, but that shouldn't deter anyone from applying. And even if
No,
you apply, the worst thing they're gonna say is
no.
no,
I still
right?
applied. I mean, you still have to apply because you can get 2 years of experience without
Yeah,
working. So you might
yeah,
as well apply. And it's just keep throwing your resume out
yeah.
there and making those phone calls, and somebody's gonna hire you.
No, that's right. That's right. So it's not sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. So I'm making good friends and just being a good person overall. Um, so you finished trade school, you got, some jobs here and there, and now you're more established. Um, is the workforce being out in the field the same as being in the trade school?
No, it's completely different. It was a curveball a little bit for me when I first started, but I knew like once I was in front of the system, I went back to school, so I knew everything, what I was looking at. I was able to just take myself back to school and do the work. But it was definitely a different side of the career. But it's been fun, and I've been enjoying it. And still a lot to learn, but
Yeah.
it's been great. I like it.
Okay. Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and that's one thing, dealing with the equipment, doing your service, troubleshooting, install. And another thing is dealing with the customers, and another thing is being stuck on the 10 freeway or the 405.
Yeah,
That's a whole
traffic is
different thing.
crazy. Yeah.
So sometimes you can put a podcast on or refresh your memory on something, but traffic can be a bit crazy. So there's a lot of external factors that play
Hmm.
play along, right? Has there been any call where you were so close to giving up, but you didn't give up, and at the end of the day, you kind of give yourself a pat in the back? And I say this because being in the HVAC industry, really any trade, you need to be able to build resilience. We got to be resilient, and sometimes it could be 4 or 5 in the morning, and you have no one to call, and you have to figure it out. Is there any experience in your personally that you've gone through that you can think of?
Um, Not recently. Right now, because I'm still fresh to the industry.
Sure.
Usually, I'm doing systems that are 5 years and younger.
Okay.
But I know there have been a few times where I was proud of myself. It wasn't anything too crazy, but it's definitely. I think the one thing I noticed from school to here is just the space. I mean, when you're in school, you have so much space to work on the equipment compared to when you're in somebody's house or up in their attic.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more crammed. Heat gets to you. I feel like the one of the hardest things, at least for me, is the first call usually goes well because I'm still first call of the day, you know. But that first call of the day kind of dictates how the rest of your day is going to
Oh,
go.
interesting.
Especially if it's really hot in the morning and you have to be in someone's attic or just in a tight space and you have to crawl, and you're tired for your next one, but you still have to give the customer, the best experience you can. And I've noticed it's like 50-50. You go in, work on the equipment, whether it's broken or you're just doing a preventive maintenance, but it's also building a relationship with the customer. So they'll have you back and they'll continue doing service
Yeah.
with you. So
Yeah.
it's, also building the relationship with the customer is probably one of the hardest, just because you're only there for what, no more than 2-3 hours
Yeah.
out of the day, if you're lucky. So just building that relationship with them is one thing, and then the work, the work is always work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The work is always work. And it's interesting you said about like starting the day off right, because you can set yourself for failure in a
hmm
way, not being punctual, right?
yeah.
Or not waking up a lot earlier, maybe missing breakfast, and you're dealing with thousands of dollars of equipment. So,
hmm
and even whatever trade school you go to, it's now where you have to start building these habits of being there on time, just treating others well, because it's really hard to be able to shift that once you're out on the field, right? So I think being punctual, I think it's the
I think punctual is
yeah,
big too, because like when you're in school, you're supposed to make mistakes and learn. And if you make a mistake in school, somebody's there with more experience to fix, what you've done. But when you're at somebody's house, working on their equipment, yeah, we still make mistakes. Nobody's
sure,
perfect, but this is somebody can go without heating or cooling for a couple of days because you made a big mistake. And or if they don't have the part and it's your fault that you shorted something or whatever the case may
yeah,
be. This is where it matters. Money's involved. Customers are, um, not happy when they have not heat or any
yeah,
cool, and especially if you make a mistake on a preventive maintenance,
yeah,
they're always like, it was working before you got here.
yeah. Oh, I've
Um,
heard that one before. Yeah,
so you just got to make sure on the ones that you don't make big mistakes and you're on top of your stuff every day,
that's right.
because it matters now. And nobody's gonna be there to save you.
Yeah,
Um, so gotta make sure you're punctual and
yeah.
don't make too many big mistakes.
That's right. That's right. And let's be honest, it's not a secret, okay? But let's be honest. Filters are always dirty, huh? They're always
But
dirty. No one
or
changes them, huh?
nobody, it's funny. I'm surprised. You either get people who don't change them at all and they're surprised when you pull it out, or very very rarely do you get the person who's like, oh, I just changed it last month and it's clean, which is always nice to know.
Yeah.
That at least somebody's changing their filters. But it's surprising to me when I pull out a dirty filter and the customer's like, wow, that's really dirty. And I'm like, yeah, it is.
Yeah. And I think I always tell them, like with your car, you wouldn't wait a year to change the engine oil, right?
Exactly.
You always want to do maintenance on it. So, but I mean that's good. That gives us that keeps us busy, right?
Yeah.
It keeps us busy. So, but okay, okay. So, just kind of going back, right? Your journey, fast food industry, trade school, and now you're working
Yeah.
in the
Service
HVAC
tech.
industry as a service tech. So um, what would be a suggestion, maybe an advice to those that want to begin in the HVAC industry? We have a lot of 17, 18-year olds, and not necessarily that age. Maybe they're a lot older
hmm
and they want to get into a trade. What would be something that you can say personally that could maybe help them in their journey?
I think what you said earlier, it's all about what you put in is what you're gonna get out. When I was choosing HVAC, I was not only choosing HVAC, but I was choosing a career. And this is something I wanted to do, whether it was HVAC or whatever the case may be, whatever I would have chosen, I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So definitely research what it's about. And then if you have somebody in the industry, maybe you can go on like a ride along with them one day. Um, but I would just YouTube. We're doing this for
Yeah,
YouTube,
yeah,
so
that's
there's a
right.
bunch of YouTube videos out there.
That's right.
Just look them up, see if that's something you'd be interested in, and I enjoy it because I always fall back on the work. I really enjoy learning about HVAC and the work itself. And then it's always nice to help somebody in need when they don't have AC during the summer, and then you
Yeah.
get it working, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, thank you." So it's great to help people, and I've always enjoyed helping people, and it's just I'm doing it through HVAC.
That's awesome. I love that. That's like it's an addiction.
Yeah.
When you're able to fix something, it wasn't working, you fix it, and now it works. And the customer, I mean, at the end of the day, all they care about is either the air is cold or that the air is hot. But they don't see the
Yes.
behind the scenes, how the equipment works.
No.
That's us. That's what we do. But it's such a satisfactory feeling. It's just it's so satisfying,
You
and
get
you
a
get to help
warm
people.
side. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like the rest of your day is just great. No matter how the rest of your day goes, your day is already good because you had that one good customer who was just super appreciative. And
yeah,
the customers really make. I feel that's another thing. Customers can. I'm not going to say make or break a call for you,
sure,
but they definitely have an impact on how you go about or how you feel that day
yeah,
because it you're only going to do so much that they want to do. And like you said, some people only care that it's hot or cold,
yeah,
but
yeah. Yeah.
they're great.
I always got into the habit of, because we don't know what they're going through. Maybe they lost a loved one. Maybe they're going through something very stressful. Besides fixing the issue, the service call, I always try to find ways to make their day happy. So a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the times, a lot of the times they have pictures on the refrigerator, on the walls, and
Yep, yep.
simply asking them, and we really are interested in them. That's what's nice about HVAC. You get paid to really help people out with their equipment, but as we do it, there's always ways to improve. So in my case, I'll ask, "Oh, is this your son, your grandson?" And they'll start to talk and talk, and it's a nice thing, you know. And of course, sometimes you have to cut it because we have to go and do what we're there for,
Yeah,
right? So we
yeah,
gotta
yeah,
fix the equipment, but that's what's nice. Everyone has their own journeys, you know.
yeah,
So I'm sure you've experienced
yeah.
that.
I like building when you get to build a relationship with a customer like that. It's a great feeling because you know they're gonna come back to you and they're gonna want you out, and it's just a good time while you're there. You're taking care of them and they take care of you, so it's a two-way street, and it's great when you're able to have a connection with that, even if it's just for a shorter period of time. They can make your day and you can make their day. Um, so I like that aspect of the residential side that I really enjoy. Not only fixing the equipment, but
Yeah,
building the relationship with the customers.
that's great. And honestly, with HVAC, you can do residential, commercial, industrial, building automation. I mean, HVAC's like the tree, and you got a lot of branches,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So, and last question, what are your like long-term goals? Where do you see yourself? And I get it. That question, like, what do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't know. I might be dead, you know? Not that
Yeah,
that's going to happen to you,
yeah,
Matt,
yeah.
right? But
No.
you could be in another state. You could, I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen in our lives. But at least specifically to HVAC, where do you see yourself in a couple of
Um,
years from
I
now?
mean, I'm just still getting started, so next 5 years, I just hope to have more experience under my belt, and being able to help people who are in need with their HVAC systems, being able to steer them on the right path, and then being able to accommodate them with what they want out of their system. You get customers who, like you said, just care if it's hot or cold, and then we have customers who are a little bit more picky on how they want their airflow or how hot or how cold they want everything. So I think it just goes back to being able to help people, and then for me, I just want to be more established. I'd
Sure.
say more experience and being able to help people who are in need with HVAC problems,
Yeah.
I'd say, and being able
Well
to
said.
diagnose maybe a
Yeah.
little bit quicker, but I'm sure
Yeah.
that'll come.
That comes with time.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
comes with
yeah.
time. But you're on your way, Matt.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the goal. So I've enjoyed it ever since, and it's been fun. I think what helped me too is I had a great school and great professors, and then I was blessed enough to get in with a good company, and I've been enjoying it, so it's been great. But
That's awesome.
yeah,
That is so great to hear. Well, Matt, thank you for
of
joining us
course.
today. I'm sure the viewers are gonna enjoy hearing your journey.
I hope so.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you, Armando, for inviting me. I
yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.